Marcus Aurelius had a technique for maintaining perfect objectivity in chaos. He would take any situation, no matter how disturbing, and strip it down to its most basic, factual description. And in that stripped-down version, the emotional charge vanished. Not because he suppressed it, because he removed the story that was generating it. Here's how he did it, and how you can use the same technique on the thing that's consuming you right now. In several passages throughout the Meditations, Marcus describes a mental exercise that has no formal name in the ancient texts, but that modern scholars call the discipline of perception. The practice is deceptively simple. Take anything that has emotional power over you and describe it using only physical, factual, neutral language. Strip away every adjective that carries a judgment. Remove every word that implies good or bad, success or failure, fair or unfair. Reduce the event to what a camera would see. You didn't get rejected. A person made a decision that didn't include you. You weren't humiliated. Words were spoken in a room. Your body produced a physiological response. You didn't fail. An outcome occurred that differed from the outcome you preferred. Notice what happens when you read those rewritten versions. The facts are identical. The event hasn't changed. But the emotional voltage drops dramatically, and that drop is the entire point. Marcus understood that most of your suffering comes not from what happens, but from the language you use to describe what happens. The description is where the drama lives. Change the description and the drama dissipates, not because you're lying to yourself, because you're finally telling yourself the truth without the editorial additions your mind attaches automatically. Marcus practiced this on himself constantly, and some of his examples are so blunt they're almost funny. In Book 6, he describes the technique of stripping things to their physical essence. He looks at expensive wine and describes it as old grape juice. He looks at imperial purple robes, the most prestigious garments in the Roman world, and describes them as sheep hair dyed with the blood of a shellfish. He looks at sexual intercourse and describes it as the friction of membranes and a convulsive expulsion. His purpose isn't to be crude. It's to break the spell. Wine isn't special, it's fermented fruit. The imperial robe isn't majestic, it's dyed wool. The things you worship, envy, or fear are at their physical core remarkably ordinary. The emotional charge they carry is something you added, not something they contain. In Book 8, he extends this to fame. What is being praised? Sounds produced by vocal cords vibrating in a room. What is being remembered after death? Electrical activity in brains that are themselves decaying. When you describe these things in physical terms, their power over you shrinks to almost nothing. He writes in Book 11, "How good it is when you have roast meat before you to impress on your mind that this is the dead body of a fish, this the dead body of a bird or pig." He's training himself to see through the presentation to the reality underneath. That refusal to be hypnotized by surfaces is the discipline of perception. The reason this technique is so effective is that it targets the exact mechanism that produces unnecessary suffering. And that mechanism is what psychologists now call emotional markup. Think of your mind as a word processor. An event happens. Your mind receives the raw data, the facts, and then instantly formats it. It adds bold to the threatening parts. It underlines the unfair parts. It italicizes the parts that confirm your insecurities. By the time the event reaches your conscious awareness, it's been so thoroughly formatted that you can't distinguish the original text from the editorial additions. You don't experience the event. You experience the formatted version. And the formatted version is almost always more dramatic, more personal, and more painful than the raw data warrants. Marcus's technique is a deliberate deformatting. He returns the event to its raw, unformatted state. And in that state, the event is almost always manageable, not pleasant necessarily, but manageable, survivable, proportional. This connects directly to what Epictetus taught about judgments. The event is neutral. The judgment creates the emotion. Marcus's contribution is a specific method for catching the judgment in the act. When you redescribe the event in purely physical terms, you force the judgments to reveal themselves. Invisible ones cannot. Let's apply this to the three situations that generate the most unnecessary suffering in modern life: insults, failures, and losses. Someone insults you. The formatted version: they disrespected me. They think I'm worthless. I need to respond or they'll think they won. The stripped version: a person produced vibrations with their vocal cords. Those vibrations entered my ear canal and were interpreted by my brain as words. The words carried a negative assessment that this person formed based on their own experiences, biases, and current emotional state. That's it. That's what actually happened. Everything else is your editorial. You fail at something important. The formatted version: I'm not good enough. Everyone saw me fail. This proves what I've always feared about myself. The stripped version: I attempted an outcome. A different outcome occurred. The attempt contained specific errors I can identify and correct. Other people observed the attempt. Their internal reactions are unknown to me and are not within my control. Feel the difference? Same event. One version devastates you. The other gives you a clear path forward. You lose something you valued: a job, a relationship, a period of your life that's ending. The formatted version: this shouldn't have happened. It's unfair. I've been robbed. The stripped version: a circumstance I valued has changed. The change was caused by factors, some within my influence and some not. What remains is my capacity to respond and adapt. None of these stripped versions deny the pain. They just remove the amplification. The event still happened. But the catastrophe, the personal attack, the cosmic injustice, those were additions, your additions. And you can take them off the same way you put them on. Here's how to build this into your daily life. It takes less than 2 minutes and it works on anything. When something upsets you, take out a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write exactly what your mind is telling you about the event. The full dramatic version: every judgment, every catastrophe, every this means and this proves. Get it all out. On the right side, rewrite the same event using only factual, physical, observable language. What would a security camera have recorded? What would a neutral observer who knew nothing about you have seen? No emotions, no interpretations, no meaning, just facts. Then read both columns side by side. The difference between them is your emotional markup. That gap between left and right is the space where all your unnecessary suffering is manufactured. And the more you practice seeing the gap, the faster you'll catch the markup in real time before it has a chance to settle into a feeling you mistake for truth. Marcus did this daily for 19 years. He did it because reality seen clearly is almost always more manageable than reality seen through the fog of your own narrative. Here's your challenge. Take the biggest stress in your life right now, the thing that keeps circling in your mind. Write it down the way your mind tells it, the full story with all the drama and judgment. Then rewrite it using only factual, physical, objective language. No adjectives that carry emotion. No interpretations about what it means. No predictions about what will happen next. Just what is literally, observably true. Read both versions aloud. Listen to the difference. One version sounds like a crisis. The other sounds like a situation. And situations, unlike crises, can be worked with. Marcus knew this. Your mind adds the crisis. The discipline of perception takes it away. Marcus Aurelius looked at the most powerful symbols of his world, imperial robes, fine wine, fame, and described them in terms so plain they lost their power over him. He did this not to diminish life, but to see it without distortion. Because the man who sees clearly acts wisely. And the man who acts through a fog of emotional markup will always overreact and suffer more than the situation requires. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. If this changed how you see the stories your mind tells you, subscribe for more ancient wisdom that still works today. Drop a comment telling me what looked different when you stripped away the judgment. I read every single one.